Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I will talk about the discovery of the electron and the proton. So let's first talk about the discovery of the electron. So let's first talk about the discovery of the electron. So first we need to talk about the current accepted model of the atom, which is a positively charged nucleus with protons and neutrons in it, with electrons orbiting it like the planets around the star. This is the current accepted model. But this is, however, not correct because of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. We cannot get the momentum and the position of the electron at the same time. So we usually represent with halos about all the possible configurations in which the electron can be. Anyways, so let's talk about some fundamental properties of the electron. So electron has a mass, obviously, otherwise it would have been traveling at the speed of light, which is 9.1 into 10 to the power negative 31 kgs, and electron's charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power negative 27 coulombs. Now we have to put a negative sign in here. Now let's talk about another fundamental property, which is called spin. It is a quantum property of electrons which all quantum particles have. So the spin of electron, I will discuss spin in a later video, but spin of electron, since it is a fermion means it's a lepton and a quark. The group which has both lepton and the quark is called fermions. Since it's a fermion, its spin is negative 1/2. Sorry, negative 1/2. It's negative 1/2. Okay. So now we will talk about how J.J. Thomson discovered the electron. So we all know that J.J. Thomson discovered the electron, but how? So what he did is, first he took a cathode ray tube with two metal plates. One has a hole and the other doesn't. Two metal plates. Okay, two metal plates. So what he did is connect these metal plates to a battery, with the one which doesn't have a hole to the negative side and one which does have a hole to the positive side. And he coated the end of the glass with a special coating in which, if the electrons hit, it would release light. So when he turned the switch on, he observed a beam. Okay, he observed a beam like this. So he thought, what could be causing it? So what he did was put some electrodes in here. This one's positively charged and this one's negatively charged. So what would he observe? We now know that this beam is made up of electrons, but he wasn't sure if it was negatively charged or positively charged. So he saw that the electrons move up towards the positive. So he thought it gave a sign that this beam was made up of a negative charge. Okay. So now again, to make sure, he took a magnet and curled it around the cathode ray. He observed that this went down. Then this made him sure that this beam was made up of negatively charged particles. So with this experiment, this cathode ray experiment, he came up with three things about this beam. He came up with three things about this beam. First is, the beam was obviously made of negatively charged particles. The beams were made up of particles which are 1,000 times smaller than the smallest atom, which is the hydrogen atom. 1,000 times smaller than the hydrogen atom. And the third thing, he found that it was found in atom. It was Then how did he know that it was found in atoms? So let me just explain it to you. Then how did he found that this particle is found in atoms? It is pretty simple. The battery, what is it made up of? Atoms. Then how can just a simple battery create a particle which is 1,000 times smaller than the smallest atom? It of course must have been coming from atoms inside the battery. We now know that chemical reactions happen in the battery which creates like electrons and yeah. So we now know electrons. So yeah, he knew that the three things about this electron. So now he discovered the electron. J.J. Thomson discovered the electron in 1897. With the coming year 2024, it is around 127 years old. The discovery was made 127 years back. But now let's go to the proton. Proton was discovered by Ernst Rutherford in 1911. 14 years after the discovery of electron. Okay. Yeah. So, what Rutherford did to find the proton is this. But first, we need to talk about fundamental properties of the proton. Protons have mass of 1.6 into 10 to the power of negative 27 kgs and a charge of 1.6 into 10 to the power negative 31 coulombs. Now, if I haven't mentioned there, electrons are negatively charged, so if it was electron, we should put a negative charge here. That's why if a hydrogen atom is neutral, because the proton and the neutrons charge cancel out, so the net charge is 0. So now you might be asking, what is the spin of protons? But protons are something called composite particles, which are made up of elementary particles if we cut them down. So the proton is made up of two types of elementary particles called the up quarks, two up quarks held by gluons and one down quark. So this is what we call a proton. Okay, so there we go. That was the proton. Now we go to how Ernst Rutherford discovered it. So first what he did was take a gold foil and take an alpha ray detector and shoot alpha rays at the gold. Alpha rays are just helium nuclei, okay? Alpha rays are just helium nuclei with 2 protons and 2 neutrons. But when Rutherford saw that the helium nuclei or alpha rays were deflected. Then he thought, how is that possible? Then here is the correct explanation of how it is possible. So what happened is this. Here is a gold atom with the nucleus. Nucleus is made up of neutral charged neutrons and positively charged protons. So overall the nucleus is positive. And also alpha rays are made up of neutrons and protons, which also makes them positive with electrons orbiting. This electron is orbiting the nucleus of the gold atom. Now what happened? The alpha rays are coming, and now the light charges here repel. So it went away. It got deflected. Same happened here and here. It gets deflected. Hence, he told that atoms must be made up of a nucleus with positively charged particles called protons. Anyways, this was the end of the video. I hope you really liked the video. I'll see you next time. Bye.